Hey guys, we're up at CV Source in Beaufort, Georgia, and let me show you what these guys do. Hey John, you back here?
Yep.
All right, here's John, the owner. How's it going?
Woods of Barclay there. I see you, man. I see you.
Hey guys, I'm up here at CV Source in Beaufort, Georgia. This is where I send all my 123, 126, 116 axles. This is where Pierre Hederi sends all his axles. These guys are the best in the business, and I just want to show you around so you can see what goes on here. And here's John, the owner. He's working on a 123 axle for me right now. I'm going to stay out of his way because he's kind of into it, but you can see he's reassembling the boot on this one. And guys, I mean, look at all these. John, what do I call these?
Those are all the outer CV joints right there.
Okay, outer CV joints.
Those are the outer CV joints that are basically there for parts or to have ready to put on an axle if we need one.
So those are sort of cores if you need them.
They're essentially cores, but they're washed up. And those are the ones that they date all the way back to the 1970s, roughly, early to mid-70s on a lot of that there. Because that's
look at all those guys.
That's Asian and GM. So we're talking GMC Motorhome all the way back to like the Yugos we've got, and you name it.
So from Mercedes to Yugo, you do it. And then over here,
and those are over there. Those are the cores that are not stored in baskets. Those are the easy to grab, quick grab cores. But that covers probably anything from the early 1970s, late 60s, all the way forward.
Let's go. I'm going to show these guys over here. Guys, look at all these axles. Don't get me wrong. Mercedes is probably a small number of the brand you're doing. There's axles from literally everything you could imagine.
There's everything. I mean, we do anything Asian from the 70s forward. We do anything, and that's like, Honda 600, Subaru, you name it, Nissan, Datsun, all that, into the 80s, all the supercars of the 80s. Then we've got European, we cover from the 1960s, about mid 1960s forward. Of course, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Audi, Volkswagen. So,
all right, yeah. What's the general process?
This comes in, and we're gonna put it in our vise here, which is set up with a specific angle, because some of these have a clip inside. In order to get the clip in the right position, in order to knock the joint off, because some joints still knock off versus others, and in order to do that, you have to have it at the proper angle. And this was actually determined by engineers what the correct angle was in order to help the clip seat itself to be compressed as you're driving the race off. And that's why it was custom made the way it is. Plus it has storage trays, and it has a catch tray so that the joint doesn't hit the floor.
Yeah. So after then is it to the wash?
Everything is stripped, all the parts go over there. This is old school because we have to hand wash now like that.
So now you're doing them by hand.
And we're doing let them rinse or let them drip until they're dry, and then go from there, blow them off of there.
So this is after disassembly, and then where's it go next?
And then there, next to the tank, is where the inspection part goes to determine what's good and what's not.
So here's one that you're inspecting right here.
Yeah.
Okay. And I see there's some needle bearings in here.
Yeah, we're going to look for wear. We're going to check a joint. I mean, like this one's been blasted on the stub, so we took it over and we blasted it after we cleaned it. But basically, we would look for wear right here in the ball track on this joint.
So that's an example area that you can TIG weld and repair if there's damage right there.
Yeah, and that's the whole point, is to put it back like original. And so this is a piece that if it has wear on it, it's going to get repaired. They're done in sets, and everything is then hand fit back together.
So after inspection, where does it go from here?
After inspection, if there's anything that needs to be done, like paint work or something like that, or repair work goes over to the TIG table.
This is the TIG table.
That's the TIG table where stuff gets
Louis is usually over here. I remember seeing Louis.
Yeah, usually he's over there. We're both welders.
Oh wow, that's a big machine right there. Yeah, that's a serious machine right there. So what's being worked on here right now? I see a bunch of stuff up
There's
here.
a bunch of different stuff. It's all by our part number.
Can you show an example of something that would need repair or that has been repaired?
I'll show you some of the stuff that people get scared of. Like, I hear people say, oh, it's got a lot of wear on it, so it's junk. And it's like, okay, well, let us determine that. But, okay, if you can see that.
What am I? Oh, am I looking right here?
You're looking right here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. There's some grooving
it's pretty
right there.
low right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, when we're done, something like this is going to look like the other side.
So you
of it.
build up the material with the TIG and then re-grind it down and
then
sand
your edges are all correct, and this is going to be, all uniform.
Look, there's one that looks like some material's been added to it.
Yeah, that one's been
okay. So is that
been touched?
So that's been touched a little. Material has started to be added back to it.
Yeah, it depends on what the piece needed. No, we actually we used to use some of our fixtures and tables for a lot of different things in the past, but we kind of repurposed them, sold some.
Now this looks like painting has happened.
We were staging.
Staging, okay.
Yeah, it was some. It's when parts get built up and we can't get
Oh wow, look at
the
this.
stuff put together, then we have to stage it. But
these look like what are inside the Mercedes axles.
those are some balls that we have. They're different sizes.
Guys, these are that's what it looks like inside the Mercedes axle. I think they're a little bigger than that, right?
They are.
Yeah, but
There's
that's
two sizes for Mercedes.
That's what goes in like the
waist joint
123.
style. Yeah, the waist joint style.
Oh
that
wow.
you're dealing with.
Yeah, the Mercedes look more like that.
Yeah.
Little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So you replace all that stuff, even if that's worn out too.
If it's worn out and it's damaged, like the chrome is bad on the balls, then they get replaced. But people seem to think that when a joint makes noise or a joint is worn out or something, that the balls get replaced. And it's like, no, actually, they're the hardest piece in the joint by comparison. Everything else is sacrificial, but occasionally you run into where there's extremes, and the balls actually end up getting the chrome knocked off of them, and they get pitted, or sometimes they actually get split. And in the axles that you bring to us, the waist joint style axles, I've had those come in where the cans actually around the joint get dented. So I've had where this can off of a 123 or 126 basically, will have a dent in it where the ball let go and tried to fire through here. And the cap that goes on top that crimps to it, that has the boot attached to it, sometimes the ball goes through that. Either it hits and stops, or it goes through and leaves holes. And I've had cans that had holes in them. I've had caps that had holes in them. I've had balls out of those particular Mercedes-Benz, that generation of axle, I've had them split in half, where you had two halves of a ball fall out of the joint.
Wow, that's what you get on a 500,000-mile car.
You're talking about something that's pretty tough. I mean, there's nothing else that I've seen that had split balls in it. I mean, for track cars, I don't see that. But for these old things, they're such a beast. They're so torquey. And
they have so many miles on them.
Yeah, and they just go and go. And some people just drive until they stop. And,
that's not good.
But yeah, I mean, you literally are people think that you replace it. It's like, okay, the can itself is reused. The only thing that we actually replace is the cap, because the can is still good.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, there's people that say, well, there's kits that come with everything. Sure, Mercedes-Benz in the old days would tell you that you would disassemble it this way and everything gets cast away and then you get all fresh stuff. But realistically, for you to be able to rebuild something at a cost-effective price, you have to reuse parts, which is the whole point behind our industry, is to reuse as much as you can, because that was the better product to start with. It was all tested and proved.
And here's all your inventory for rebuilding.
There's some of the rebuilding inventories in here. Yeah.
There's a bunch of boots up in here.
Yeah. It just depends.
Now, also, there's aren't there O-rings used in these axles? Because I remember you talking about there was a O-ring shortage for a minute.
There was an O-ring shortage last year. Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, that happened twice now in the last 3 years, where you couldn't get an O-ring.
But now they're back again. You found them
again.
That's good.
They come in, sort of like ebbs and flows, I guess. I mean, some people they don't get it that inventory happens that.
Guys, if you need your axles rebuilt, send them in to CV Source so we can keep the supply of materials. If we stop having our axles rebuilt, then they're going to stop making the parts to rebuild the axles because nobody's doing it. So anyway, rebuild your axles. So guys, I don't think this is out of a 123, but what it is, this is called a Weiss joint. And this is what we have in our 120. It looks like a 123.
Well, it actually comes in all of them. This is the outer joint on everything.
And how does this work? There's two pieces?
Older. Yeah, you've got what they call the inner race, and you got your outer race or housing, and they interlock like this with a ball bearing between each track.
Here, these are what he's talking about, guys. These actually,
yeah, you're actually going to have two ball sizes, because there's two types, and depending on what the track size is. So this is going to go in.
Oh, and the
like
ball.
That. And these are an opposing track, so one actually goes this way.
And that's how it pivots.
One goes like this way, and it will go in a straight line up and down, even though this track is going this way and this track is going that way.
So this allows it to go up and down and pivot.
Articulate radially.
What a brilliant design.
Yeah, this is actually a Weiss joint, W-E-I-S-S, or Weiss to the Germans, and this design comes in different ball configurations. This is a 6-ball design. There's different variations of it. You can look them up.
And guys, this is what is under.
That is basically the can. So you're going to have an O-ring right here. You're going to put the can on.
Now I don't think that's a 123 one, but we're just kind of showing sort of.
Yep, we're showing that.
That's what's inside your can on your axle, guys. And what's going on here with this guy?
Which what?
It looks like you have a machine here, and
that's the vise that we use to hold for assembly. That's the piece that I use. I spend most of my time at this bench, so when people are emailing in or whatever, I'll have to stop at certain points to answer, but this is where I spend my time. And if I don't spend it here, it's back and forth between here, the office, and whatever. So
Louis, I saw him with a grinder, like cutting off some stuff here the other day.
Yeah, basically, depending on what the situation is, if the joint doesn't come off, sometimes we have to cut the internal parts to get it loose from the bar shaft, and then we'll replace those parts. But simple, quick, and dirty is if you're going to take a boot off, from our standpoint, bands and boots are going to come off and get replaced, so we cut them with a cutoff wheel and just level.
And how long have you been doing this?
This is 37 years this year.
37 years, you guys.
Yeah.
37 years means I think it takes 10 years to become a master at something. So at 37 years, you're basically Yoda.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is the place to send your axles. I just wanted to give y'all a quick introduction, introduce you to John, and they do fantastic work. So
yeah. If you're calling or emailing, I'm the one. Even though I'm benching here doing this every day, I'm still answering. So a little bit of patience on that when we don't get back to you so quick, because this is not one of those quick and dirty. It's an e-commerce thing. It's everything is personal.
Guys, I will always take an original Mercedes axle. This one's done. That's a 40-year-old axle that is basically, it's brand new now.
It's like brand new now, yeah.
And it's guys, I would do this any day of the week than buy any of the aftermarket stuff. This is a far superior product when they're done with it. Yeah. So anyway, website cvsource.com. cvsource.com. Okay, cvsource.com, and all of John's contact info is there. So if you need your 123, 126, 116, or
anything really,
or if you need any kind of axle, send it to John.
We're doing track car axles for BMWs. We're doing Porsche track car axles. This is not stuff like Performance Upgrade. Don't confuse us with the guys who build Performance Upgrade axles out there.
This is a factory original.
This is factory original, going back to factory original. That's the whole point of what we do. It's OEM. It's legit. And I've been building this particular axle, this Weiss joint style axle right here, this design, I've been building for 30 years myself. 30 years since I learned how to rebuild.
So you could do this with your eyes closed.
I could do these with my eyes closed. Yeah, these are like cake to me. Anybody else, they'd probably just lose their mind. But this is no big deal to me. But
well, there you go, guys.
It's
CV Source. These are the guys to call. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.